Hey, super developers, .NET fans, and the amazing community of AK Academy. Hope you are all doing well. Thank you so much for your patience for the last period. Actually, I know that I wasn't very active, and hopefully you missed the show basically. And in case you are new to the channel, so welcome everyone. Here we are back again with a new set of courses and videos and series of things like that. So basically, we have a very interesting stuff that's coming on May of 2022. So hopefully the plans will be shared very soon on the channel, and there's going to be a new page on my official website, which is ahmedmuzaffar.net, that will list the schedule of the new upcoming courses and videos. And yeah, so it will be released like within the May 3rd, yeah, like Tuesday it's going to be. You can check that out. I will put it on the home official page. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, for your patience, and for all the stuff. Right now, the new course is going to be mainly focused on the server side, or cloud computing, let's say. But before we go, Blazor is our favorite hot trending technology and all this kind of stuff, so we cannot basically leave it alone. There is a lot of things to talk about, a lot of amazing libraries. And actually we have one today, so we are going to talk about that. Yeah, there's going always to be videos about Blazor and talk about stuff in general, but for now we have an amazing short video and good thing that I think you may like as a developers. And let's get started with the topic. So basically what we have for today is what's called a Blazor messaging center. So you may all know that when you are trying, or when you are like developing Blazor apps, there is always a thing, which is when you need to implement communication between components, right? That's something essential that's existing in every single application. Like, it's all about components, and those components has to talk to each other, right? Blazor fortunately provides us with like three powerful mechanisms. The first one is using parameters, cascading parameters, and use event callbacks. So you can put the data from the children to the parent and stuff like that, which is good. And you can use like app state classes where you can, if you want to like send the data across the components. But while developing in a real world projects, we faced actually an issue, and I think you may face it as well as a Blazor developer, which is, what if you want to send something, like you have a piece of data, let's say, and you want to send this one across the components, like you want to broadcast this actually, and then there is interesting components from it, like it's not like a parent-children relationship. Maybe it is like that, but like the relationship is far away. Like you cannot use event callbacks, because event callback to callback to callback to reach for the parent, or you want to like just send the data across for the layout, or you want to use the relationship is close, but at the same time your point, like your data, you don't want it to go like just one step or to one destination. Like you need it to broadcast, and then there is like a listener components who are just likely interested in this, and they can just grab that piece of data and they can do something against that, which is something interesting, right? Like you can use some set of classes, you maybe read some blogs about that. But I remembered while facing this problem that Xamarin.Forms has something similar, right? It's called messaging center. I'm not sure if you have already played with that before, but if we Google that, actually, we can say Xamarin.Forms messaging center, and we can get this one. And if you open this, you are going to see that we have this, which is basically a messaging pattern, like following the publisher subscriber pattern, where like the publisher publishes a piece of data and he's not aware like who's going to receive that, and the receiver or the subscriber is the same thing. Like he's interested in this piece of data, like regardless who's sending that, which is very good. And so what I've done over here is that I grabbed that library as it is. So I'm not the developer of this library, okay? So I'm not the inventor or the developer. I just ported that library. I fitted that code from Xamarin.Forms. I packaged that into a NuGet package, and right now it's available for everyone. So you can just grab the NuGet package and start using this fourth new way into implementing communication between our components. So if you follow this link that I'll put in the descriptions below under the video, you're going to notice that here we have like a sample that shows we have a component in the middle that actually publishing data, and this data is being received and changing within the layout and the nav menu as well. Like at the same time, I just publish one message and there is multiple subscribers who are interested and taking action against that. So basically the benefits are big for this, and the code is much less, and it's a very efficient pattern. Like when you it's very good when it comes to loosely coupled, like the component has to be as much isolated from the outside world, and it takes the right parameters and give the right events or callbacks or pushing data from inside to outside. While messaging center keeps this pattern basically because your component is still isolated, and you want just basically to send a piece of data to somewhere, but this piece of data shouldn't be tied for another component. Like it's still separated. Anyone can should be interested in. So if you open this GitHub repo, you're going to notice like a sample code how you can get started. I'm going to show you that from scratch right now over here. But we also have, if you clone this, if you open the source folder, you're going to notice that we have a shopping cart sample. So if I open this shopping cart sample, basically, if I right click and just another sample to show you like the power of this utility within like a real world project. So let's say you have an e-commerce website, and here we have this is the item component, right? Like this is the item. The item has a name, has a price, and has a stock available, right? Like we have 10 items over here. Here we have my cart, which is like a far component from this item, and here we have our shopping cart. So whenever we add a cart, like we need an event to be sent or like a message to be sent, where other components like my cart, this one over here, this button, and the shopping cart, like they can listen, grab the item and do something, like visualize something or do some stuff, which is very efficient because if you noted the code, you're just sending a message, receiving a message, and doing an action. You don't care about that relationship and starting pushing event callbacks from inside to outside, or even like writing code to create a class and register that in the dependency injection container and register this in many places. That's somehow a little bit costly. So let's see how that works. If I hit add to cart, for example, you can see that this becomes 4. It's being added over here and showed here over wheel at the same time. So if I click more and more and more and more, so right now it's out of stock and this button is not clickable anymore. So, and my cart's being updated, like it is here, and I have this value over here. So what happens if I click X, also deleting from the cart, publishing a message where like this one and this one are interested in listening to. And if I hit remove, you can see that this one came back to normal and this one. So this is an important functionality that's basically needed into every application where you do something and you need other components to listen to. So let me show you the code, how this actually being done. If I go to the components, I have shopping cart and I have products list. So let me open the products list. Here we go. Those are the carts that contains the product itself. And this is the functionality called add item to cart. So let me go for this function. And this is what you are going to notice. So look at that. We have messaging center dot send, and it takes the 3 basic parameters. The first one is the sender, like who's actually sending this message. So what's sending this message is the current object we are in, which is the products list, right? So we just pass the object. Then we pass like the name of the message or the type. Like it's basically a string. You can identify like message received, like item added, item deleted, set of messages that you're going to use across your application. And here you pass a parameter or an argument, like this message, you can send a payload within it. And in this case, is it the item that's being added to the cart? And this is it basically. And let's go to the shopping cart, which is a receiver for this message, and let's see what it has. And if I go over here in the onInitialized, you can notice that I am subscribing over here. Like I'm saying, here I'm sending, while here I am receiving, or I'm subscribing to that podcast that's sending the message, I'm saying the sender is, as you can see, take the sender and what is the kind of the element inside, like what is the type of the argument. So I need to define the sender to know for like what object I'm subscribing to, and I need the type of the payload that's coming within that message. And then I say like with the subscriber, it is the current object, which is this. What is the kind of message? It has to be the same name, which is item added. And the last thing that we have is an action where you want to do something, right? Like you receive the message and you need to do something. So basically this is here a delegate that provides you this functionality, and it takes two parameters, the sender and the item that's being sent. So if I put those actually side to side, let me close this and this as well. So if you noted that this one sending, this is the sender and this is the item that's being sent, and here you subscribe for this by this is subscriber, this is the type of the item, and over here this is the sender object, this is the argument that comes in, and I will take an action. What action? I'm going to like populate or refresh the shopping cart, and then I will say state has changed, just to notify the component that hey, something happens from like outside, and it's going to refresh itself, and I'm going to see the item in the shopping cart. The same functionality, as you can see, if I go to the layout, if I open the layout, if I open this one, you are going to see just exactly the same. Let me close this. Here we are subscribing to two. The first one is the item added, where we are actually increasing the total amount. This is what you have seen on the top right corner. And we are subscribing to cart item removed, where we are actually reducing the total amount. So this is the main functionality behind this. It's not a new concept, but for Blazor it is new actually. This one is very common in Xamarin.Forms and mobile development, but I saw that like that's very important in Blazor, and actually it's even more important than using it with the mobile phone, because the components concept is something amazing, and having this way of functionality to communicate between them is something powerful, right? So we have seen a real example. I have put the light into this library. So right now, let's take a minute to make that, to show you in a real world example what we can do. So here I have a new instance of Visual Studio. I will go ahead and create a Blazor WebAssembly app. I'll say messaging center demo. Okay, next. Let's keep everything as it is, and here we go. We have our project. So let's just start by going to NuGet Packages, and let's search for software.blazor utilities. This one over here. Hit install, and let's wait for a second. Accept. Good. That's it basically. So what's our demo is going to be? You know that our project, if we run it, we have in the famous Blazor app, you can see that we have the counter value, right? And whenever we update that, when you click that button, the counter is being like increased one by one. And we are going to be, this is it. So we're going to take this value from over here, and we are going to broadcast it, where we will receive it from the layout and show it beside this, and we will show it also over here in the nav menu. So let's see how we can do that very quick using the messaging center. So we have installed the messaging center. This is all you have to do. The next step is to go to counter, and what I'll be doing is I will publish this message, say messaging center. Let's add this library using, then I'll say send. Yeah. And let's send the sender, which is this. The message is counter updated. And the argument, like what is the value that you want to send, is the current counter. Current count, sorry. Here we go. Like that's very simple. We don't care about who's going to receive that. We just publish it and we put it somewhere, and that's it. the next step is I'll be receiving that from the main layout. So let me open the main layout, and here we have this about. I will add something like beside it. I would say I will add another A actually. Anchor. I'll say counter at current count. Okay, so let's write some code over here. Override on initialize. Let's create a private current count equals to 0 by default. Very good. So right now let's subscribe to that message. I'm saying messaging center dot subscribe. Okay, what is the type of the sender? It's the count page, the counter page. Let's add the using for the page. And what is the type of the argument? It's integer. Who is the subscriber? This, the current object. Counter updated, right? And the callback, the sender, and the argument. Okay, what's going to happen when I receive this message? Don't do anything interesting, just put the current count, and here we should say state has changed, just to notify about the component that this value has changed, because the render tree is observing this, but not when it's being changed from like an outside handler or delegate. So this is what we need to do to populate the shared value. So look at that. I have sent the value from like a page within the layout, and maybe from a component within the component, from within a component. I published that back like to the layout, straightforward. I don't care about the relationship. So if I hit this, look at that. They are being updated, and the same, you can do that in your own projects to publish data straightforward, regardless the hierarchy of your components. So same could be applied for anything else. So this is basically like that short video just to highlight this library that I think some or many Blazor developers actually needed to help them to be more productive and build like better apps. So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and if you haven't subscribed for the channel already, hopefully you're going to do so, and yeah, have a good day and see you.